See, if we're both kind of right there, like if you're moving, it's far for you, but
So play this first song next break. Now back over here for now.
alright, we are live.
Yikes.
People are seeing us. I don't have headphones. Where's my headphones?
All right, Motion Hotel, friends with friends. Always happy to be here. Going to get into a lot of news, music, and we're on both sides of the weekend. So we want to let you know some stuff that's been going on, some stuff to talk about, think about, and listen to over the weekend. And then we'll be back with you Monday on the HD band from 4 to 6. So thanks everybody that's been tuning in for a while. We've got all kinds of music to get to today. Michael Bird Brother, amongst others. And there's all kinds of stuff going on in Houston. What you been doing lately, Derek?
Well, yeah, it's been
Live streaming? I see us. Is
a
that
busy
us?
week. Yeah, I want to let everybody know that we are actually, for the first time, live streaming Freethinker Radio on YouTube. If anybody wants to tune in to watch us live in the studio, it's on the Conscious Resistance YouTube channel. If anybody wants to check that out. But as far as what I've been up to, man,
We'll get better at that.
We will get better at it. We right now, for those who've never watched us live or listened before, we have a producer, Johnny, who is not here today. Johnny's gone. We're sad about that. Johnny's out of town for the next 2 weeks. So that means we got to answer the phone calls ourselves. We got to pay attention to everything ourselves, which makes it a little bit more hectic in here. But we're also stoked, to do that and to be here talking with you guys. As far as what I was up to this weekend, dude, I mentioned to our audience last week that I had my first campaign event. I think last week we told you guys that I'm running for mayor of Houston. Yay. Anybody interested in that, check out derekbros.com. But I'm running for mayor of Houston. So we had our first campaign event this past Sunday at Midtown Bar and Grill here in Montrose, not far from where we're at here at the station.
Oh, it seems so long ago. That was just last weekend.
That was just a couple of days ago.
Yep, we're here now.
And yeah, so it was pretty cool though. I was excited to just connect with some people. We had a pretty good turnout for our first event, and that was nice. And other than that, man, I've just been at home working on ideas.
A video from that's getting around. It's got like 1,000 views on Facebook or something.
We're getting some traction. We're definitely getting
political, just stump speech or whatever you want to say.
We had our, so the talk from the campaign event. I put out one video about 5G, talking about 5G and what we're, my position on that. Today we'll be releasing a video later today about cannabis, talking about decriminalization of cannabis in Houston and also welcoming cannabis businesses to the city. So it's things are moving. Yeah, and like I said, if anybody wants to hear about that, we might mention it a few times over the next 5 months as it gets closer to the election. But other than that, if you want to get involved, you can check out derekbros.com or Derek Bros for Mayor of Houston on Facebook. And that's pretty much all I did this weekend.
I've heard this phrase, sanctuary city for cannabis, come
sanctuary,
out of this campaign before.
Yeah, city for cannabis. That's the phrasing we're going to be using today when we release this video. So I'm excited about that because we're going to get to talk all about that issue and hopefully inject some real conversation. So one of the things I will say is every Friday at noon I do a live stream town hall is what I've been calling them, town hall live stream. And somebody earlier who was actually at the event said those other candidates are so boring. That's those are their words, not mine. But that was their response to the website and to everything else going on there with the campaign, with the candidates. We do have a phone call here. We're going to get to in just a moment.
I'd show them it lighten up.
Yeah, well,
see what it's like.
Yeah, look, here, we'll show. Again, if you want to watch live, go to youtube.com/consciousresistance. We have 2 phone calls. Look at that coming in. So people who are watching the show can actually see what we're doing in the studio. Here's the board warning. But anyways, yeah, thanks to everybody who's been plugged into what we're doing here at Freethinker Radio. We are here every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. We are here on Mondays on the HD2 dial from 4 to 6 p.m. in the studio at 90.1 kpft.org here in the heart of Houston at Montrose.
And you could be checking out the archive whenever.
Yeah.
So thanks in however you participate in the dialogue. If you throw comments down, sometimes we mention these because there's some astute comments that show up in the archives and as well as the calls we get. So I want to thank everybody who has participated in the past, who looks forward to participating. If you want to call in to the FM show, that's the Friday show, Call 713-526-5738.
Do you want to grab one of those calls?
I guess I could do that.
Yeah, go for that, Micah.
I'm
Mute your mic.
afraid.
Yeah, well, we love having calls. You know, we've had, for those who are unaware, KPFT is commercial-free,
KPFT.
corporate-free, community-supported, listener-supported radio,
Okay.
and so we do these fund drives periodically. And there was a fund drive recently. It was about 3 weeks, 4 weeks long. And so when the fund drives are going on, we don't get to interact with our audience as much as far as having phone calls. And so we're back to it now. We're getting phone calls in the studio, and we have the YouTube audience. I'm watching the comments on YouTube as well as we're taking phone calls here. And if you want to I don't know if there's any other way to watch us other than visually and listen. But yeah, so lots of news to get into. I know a couple of stories that I'm going to cover as Micah takes the phone call. You guys can watch him on screen take the phone call. I know the news that I'm going to be covering today. We're going to talk, of course, about one of our favorite conversations on vaccinations. We're going to talk about an update on Assange. We're going to talk about why there's so many mainstream media reporting on UFOs. It's a subject that's been of interest to me my whole life, but it's largely dismissed as conspiracy theory and things of that sort. And all of a sudden this week you've got a handful, more than a handful,
Nancy, thank you for your call.
Of mainstream outlets reporting on UFOs. And then we've got March on the Pentagon coming up. Like I said, an update on Assange. There's lots of things that we're going to get into today. Micah, what do you want to talk about? What do you got on the horizon for everybody? You got something locally in Houston you want to start with?
I got all kinds of things going on. I got news locally going on, but I also got events that are supposed to be going on this weekend across Houston. And, we've got our usual stuff we talk about. We recommend the markets and we recommend art and cultural events, but these are some kind of like more mainstream. I don't know what you want to say, but they're out there for people, and I do think they're worth mentioning because some of them are kind of interesting. Because I know people. How do you put it? Houston's a really spread out city, and so you might be out in Missouri City and not be able to make it downtown. They got this thing, Kids Fish 2019, the community park out there from 9 a.m. to noon Saturday. Kids get to go learn about fishing. That's a good skill, can actually eat and be able to sustain yourself. 3 to 16 years old can fish for free, so it's something to do. Get out and meet some other kids and take your kids out too, because I mean, come on, what 3-year-old's going to go there by himself? I might have, but I know not everybody is so motivated. Sandcastle building lessons down in Galveston from 8 to 3.
Sandcastle building lessons?
Yeah, I thought you'd get into that. Demonstrations begin bright and early. It's going to be a warm day. Equipment will be provided and supplies are limited, so you might want to get there early. And that's going, like I said, 8 to 3. That's a lot of hours of sandcastle building. And Taco Palooza, that's going on from 11 to 7 on Sunday. Yeah, yep, that's got to be about tacos. And Houston Health Fest going on 10 a.m. Saturday at Discovery Green. It's a family-friendly event. So there's games, you can throw kids around, whatever. There's also music and performances for adults. So yeah, I'm not sure what all to expect from it, but they're looking at like fashion aspects of health. I'm not exactly sure how that fits in, but maybe not wearing uncomfortably tight clothes or uncomfortable clothes.
If it's talking about health, it could be like maybe the type of fashion materials is like healthy stuff too, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's Health Fest, and I'm sure it's going to be expanding. Looks like it's going to be one of the first ones here, and so that's going on as well. So there's some things going on besides the news.
Besides the news. Yeah, well, I don't know if what do you got? Last weekend I did actually go to one thing. Was that last weekend? I don't remember. Rock and Roll Circus? Was that last week?
Yeah, that was Saturday.
I mentioned that on Monday's show. Then sometimes I forget
I know it messes me up.
What we've already talked about on air and what we haven't.
And then it feels so much later on this show. Like, so when we re-announce what happened last weekend, it's like, oh, really? That seems so long ago.
So I went to Rock and Roll Circus. But, yeah, I don't have much local news, Micah, so I'm going to leave it to you if you want to touch on anything locally.
Well, I guess
I got a lot of national stories.
Around. Some of this stuff's been getting around, so I'll get through it kind of quickly. Let's see what we got here. Well, it turns out that before the government got out of the way of people's, I guess, civil right, I guess their liberty, their ability to possess things like knuckles. It used to be a Class A misdemeanor punishable by a year in jail and a fine of $4,000 for some brass knuckles. Can you believe that? How about that? But they decided to get out of the way, and so they went ahead and made brass knuckles legal because you might need to defend yourself with some brass knuckles. And they said that knuckles have been proven that it's primarily a defensive tool. People often use a gun or something else when they go to rob people and stuff. It's rarely knuckles, but things like novelty keychains. They said that there's a woman that was arrested and she had a novelty keychain that they determined as knuckles, so she was sent to jail. And there's a lot
So
of
wait, she had the wrong type of keychain that could potentially have been used as a
yeah.
knuckle slash, not actually brass knuckles, of course, or was it made of brass?
No, but they said by the way
it was a violent tool.
Yeah, that it would, and so this is just one of those things that's been removed now. This law comes after lawmakers they previously removed switchblades. So all kinds of crazy things, just trying to stop people from being able to defend themselves, and kind of good to see, I guess things moving forward, and getting less oppressive situation there.
Less oppression is always good.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. Let's see how it goes. Uh, this is a little headline I was going to just kind of go through. I didn't want to get too deep into it. We do talk often about the schools and something that seems to be perennial in the news for different reasons, but this isn't what you might expect. The teacher turnover rate in the Texas public schools, they say nearly 1 in 3 public school teachers calls it quits in Texas before reaching the 6th school year. And if you think about that, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people move from job to job nowadays, and so I think that may be indicative of a bigger trend. But quite often, I guess educators would be able to go in, teach, move to another school, teach, etc. So it seems like they're just getting out of it. And they say that one of the big things is they just don't get paid. Imagine that. So that's interesting, but only worth a brief stop. What else we got going on locally? I know there's some more stuff. Oh, here's a little local economics. Blue Line Corp. It's a chemical company based in Texas. I know we got a long history chemical corporations here, but this one, Blue Line Corp, is going to be the first and the only company outside of China that can process small batches of rare earth. So yeah, these type of minerals are being used increasingly so in our technology age, and it seems like up until now, most of them have just been processed in China. So that may be, a little bit of empowerment for our local economy, and it may, bring diversity to the market a little bit. So that's kind of something different going on here. And yeah, that's about all I got for local, I think. How do you like that? Brass knuckles, processing a rare earth, minerals. Like I said, events. And
there's always stuff going on in Houston. Sometimes we're plugged
teachers leaving.
Other times
I got one other one. I lied. I got a good
he's got one more. It's better be a good one.
Oh, it is. It is. It's the Pothole Brigade. We've discussed this before.
We did talk about this.
And turns out that some, leaders out there in the community have taken it upon themselves to do this very thing. We've been like, why do we always have to wait for them to fix the potholes? And how come they keep being able to use potholes as like, I don't know, promises to the people? Like, we're going to fix your potholes. Well, turns out that it was reported by ABC 13 that the firefighters have been forced to fix their own potholes. What?
Forced to fix their own potholes. Dun, dun, dun.
Yet they said if they didn't, there'd be like serious problems. They kept running their tanker trucks over it. Houston firefighters say they are having to fix their own potholes because the city just doesn't ever act when they call for repairs. Houston's firefighter union called in to question Mayor Sylvester's pothole program. I didn't even know there was a pothole program, so that's pretty interesting. And it says that this pothole program vowed, that's a strong thing to do, to vow something, but it vowed to get repairs started within 24 hours of a complaint. That's like Domino's style delivery almost. But yeah, the union said firefighters at Station 4 took matters in their own hands after waiting over half a year for a fix to a large pothole that rocked the pumper truck every time it left the station. So, yep, they went in, chipped in, bought a bag of concrete mix and a mop bucket, and they filled the hole themselves. Woohoo! People being able to do things.
People taking care of themselves. Imagine that. Can you imagine that, Micah? Did you imagine that?
Check it out. I just did. And not only that, they're taking care of this truck that they're being responsible for instead of letting it fall into this massive hole every time. So I thought that was kind of cool. The hole wasn't little. They got it all over the news. Yeah, big hole. Looks like big enough for an 18-wheeler. Look how big that is. That's big enough. Man,
that is a big hole. Show me that hole right there.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
That's it. That's a man's foot. You can fit like a bunch of feet in there.
All right. Well, you know what? I think we should go to a music break real quick. We just covered Houston news. We're gonna come back. I know I want to talk about the Bilderberg Group, Assange,
Yeah, we got a
vaccinations,
lot
journalism.
of
There's a lot of things going on.
outside Houston. I know sometimes we get stuck in Houston.
5G.
Sometimes we don't.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll be stuck in Houston because there is so much news.
We're gonna hear some Mockingbird Brother now.
What's this song?
Let's go with this one. This Take Flight Hurricane.
Take Flight Hurricane. All right. Well, you're listening to Freethinker Radio or watching Freethinker Radio on 90.1 KPFT Houston and on YouTube at The Conscious Resistance. Stay tuned
We're in
for
the
more.
future.
We'll be right back. We're going to take your phone calls, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
That lady called saying you can't talk about your campaign on the air, blah, 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 and gave me 3 examples of past people who had to deal with that.
Was she?
And she's like, I love your station, I love your show, et cetera, but you can't do that, blah, 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 blah.
What was she saying?
Like, she named all these people that had done it in the past and how they had to stop, and one person had to leave being on the air, and like their percentages and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, you need to stop doing that. Tell him not to do that. Her name was Nancy. Oh shit, we're live. We don't get our breaks anymore.
No, you can be. Well, look, there's comments right here. Wave to them.
Sometimes, I swear, this is radio. We shouldn't have to dress nice.
They can probably still hear us.
So how are we supposed to be able to, show like headlines or something besides just on the...
I could do that right here.
Like, see, during this time, you could just put up the Freethinker Radio tab
all right,
thing.
well, I have to figure that out 1 second. Let me see if I can do this without doing it live. I got the Conscious Resistance logo. Let me see if I can do another one. Yeah, so you just preset all the screens.
That'll make it nice, right? Because then you'll just have the video and you won't have to do the archive. It'll be way more dynamic. And it won't have to just be us. Like, we're fine, but there's other things that are cool too. Like the headlines.
Can I hear that?
Yeah, it was redlining. But I don't know if it's because the out from the computer there is so loud or what, but yeah. I mean,
let's see if that changes live. So this is what's happening right now, which is a delay. See if the show pop up. Now I'm just going to show the drag out. So it's like a 5 second. This is everything a second time.
yeah.
I'm not the kind of guy people like to be. So like a sack at the factory.
Yeah, let's keep playing this song. I know it's clean and it sounds good. But I haven't played it to death yet, so I'll make sure the audience learns it. Sort of sounds like the Killers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That dude from Denver called that.
They were saying hi to you.
Hey!
So yeah, what I can do is
when I switch to the screen here, it'll show it what I'm seeing here. So like, like what I'm saying, if we have all the articles lined up, where I can just go to the document and like if the article Blueprint covers was mine, or say Johnny's computer,
You can at least switch in and out of it.
so then he just goes to the document, just clicks open that link, and just keeps it on the screen share, so they see him as
Yeah.
he's going through the links that you're talking about.
That way it's not just us and us occasionally, right? Like,
Yeah, well, it would be like I said, this
like
camera.
us starting off.
We could put this camera here at the barrel of the two bags, or if we get long enough, like I said, we
Yeah.
just put it in.
I've got a cable that's that long. I just think it's over bibs or something right now. If not, we should do one. I mean, seriously, we should just get one. All right, all the news you can use and a little bit of the music too.
Can I use it?
I hope so, because you can go to Mockingbird Brother on Bandcamp and get into a lot more. They've got like 4 albums out there, and it's all really good stuff. I don't almost want to leave it playing in the background, but I know we got some serious stuff to get into. All kinds of people in jail and people building walls and people creating wars and stuff. So
Yeah, that's
let's
stuff to
just
cover.
go ahead
I
and
want to
get into
go. I want to give an update on Julian Assange, but before I do that, I do want to mention that probably one of the biggest stories that isn't. I think it's important. I actually did a video about this yesterday, so some of the audience will be familiar with this. I think it's an important story in the fact that we know that most of the corporate-controlled media isn't really touching on it, other than briefly. But this weekend in Switzerland is what is known as the Bilderberg meeting. The Bilderberg meeting is the unofficial name for the Bilderberg Group, which have been meeting in different parts of the world since 1954, and over a period of time, have gotten a label of conspiracy. But what it really amounts to is this group that has been followed by different journalists, investigative journalists, asking questions about, hey, why are heads of state and media tycoons and academics and corporate heads and just all these different power players meeting in a secret location behind closed doors where they all agree that they won't reveal anything about their comments, that they'll have an agreement to just keep things secret, so they say so that people can speak freely without fear of whatever, which to me says like, hey, if you have to speak secretly because you're afraid of what people are going to think, then maybe there's something wrong with what you're talking about, or especially if you're in these positions to have influence over the world. But in the last few years, because of people reporting on it, it has made mainstream news. As of 2016, the Bilderberg Group actually made an official website, and they started posting their own agendas and their own meetings notes, which never had happened prior to 2016. So that takes place every June, and it's taking place right now in Montreux, Switzerland, and there are a couple of independent journalists out there who are trying to cover it and asking questions, and I believe they've already been detained over the last couple of days. Luke Rukowski and Dan Dix of Press for Truth, and others, Josh Friedman, who are out there, just independent journalists. There's Charlie Skelton, who's written for The Guardian, written for Newsweek. And, you do have some power players. You have, like, the generals of NATO. You've got Eric Schmidt, who's formerly the head of Google and now is a representative of Alphabet Inc., who owns Google. And you've got Secretary of State Pompeo reported to be in there, reported in the mainstream, reported to be there. Jared Kushner, who is Donald Trump's, not only his son-in-law, but his senior advisor. Of course, Henry Kissinger is there. There's just so many different people who have affected not just American politics, but Western geopolitics and Danish royalty, Danish prime ministers, Danish intelligence agents, the head of PayPal, Peter Thiel, the head of Palantir, which is another data mining company. So there are a lot of powerful and influential people here. And so the video I talked about yesterday was basically the idea, like, is this, especially, so if you're just hearing about this for the first time, go look it up, do the research, check it out for yourself. No conspiracy about this. This, as I said, is now mainstream news, although they don't really dig deep into it, and they do say anybody who thinks these people have influence or conspiracy theorists. It's a real topic. Look up the Bilderberg Group. Look up some well-written books and documentaries about it. Get educated on it. Understand it. And then once you come to that point, I think that, so we get to the point where we can get people to actually talk about it. But Micah, my question, or what I've been trying to get in people's head, is like, are these groups, these individuals who obviously have influence, are they really as important as we might think? You know what I mean? Like, do these people... Stacey Abrams, another like progressive politician here in America, is on there. Are these people really, obviously, like I said, they're in influential positions with the corporations and the governments and the heads of state and all that, but how much control do they really have over our lives? Because I do think it's important to take note of what they're doing and maybe to ask questions, but at this point, they lock up the hotel so tight, they don't let anybody in. There's no way, they only put out official statements, so I think it's important to shine a light on them, but maybe not to give away all our energy to just focusing on quote-unquote they or them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things I was going to say is when you're asking how important they were, you kind of limited it yourself a bit later when you said how much influence do they have over our lives. I was going to say, what scope? What scope of how important are they? I mean, each listener out there and everybody here is important, right? But how much control do they have over our lives? Well, each one of those bureaucrats, they have X amount of power, and sometimes we see that they have quite a lot of power. Um, but whether we should let them, let our concern for what they're plotting and planning and doing, really dictate how we feel every day and the actions we take to make the world better. You got to put that stuff in a box. They put it all in a box themselves. So I kind of feel like it's a lot of effort to get out there and to be able to go, to Bilderberg or something like that. So they go through all this, and you can just meet with them somewhere else and ask them what happened, for one. For two, their own actions uh, pretty much will condemn them in the long run. So if you're worried about the secret plotting that they're doing there, just pay attention to either their voting record or the things they sign or how they run their departments and these bureaucracies. I think there's enough out there that we don't have to bug the walls of the Bilderberg meetings to know that the global elite are often set on their own designs. And I can't really, in some ways, blame them. I can blame them when they're sociopathic and hurt other people. But all
Sure.
of us should be set on our own designs. They don't need to know when we're meeting for the next radio show. There, people have privacy. That's cool. But
But the difference, I guess, in this case is that some of these people are heads of state, and so it does violate the U.S. Logan Act to be meeting, because they say it's unofficial, but obviously if everybody gets like you said, if we get together with our core group of people, we had that summit a couple months ago, and it was independent journalists and activists. So we get together. That was sort of a private thing. I guess we live streamed it, but for the most part, it was private. We talk about our ideas, and then we all go back to our various spheres of influence, and then we make it happen, right? That's kind of what they do. But the difference is these are public officials, who you're a private citizen. You're not in a position of like, hey, I'm the president or I'm this senior government, whatever. And so you have a duty, some would say, or a requirement to tell the people what you're talking about. But in this case, there's secrecy. I guess that's where I think people's biggest claim is, because I don't necessarily think that these people have all this power when it comes to like true power, not just like power of government and these sort of things. But they don't, like you said, they don't necessarily have ultimate power over our lives. They have what we give them to a certain extent. And so I try to like, hey, let's look at this, let's pay attention to that, but at the same time, not not give away our time, energy, and power to to affect our own lives.
yeah. So you want to take that call there, Derek?
I'm horrible at answering the phone
No,
calls.
this is
but,
just what you say.
Oh
to not
gosh.
do
Okay.
things.
Well then. All right. Cool. So yeah, we got a phone call coming in, but yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that 713-526-5738. We got one caller coming in. I think this is MOD, our usual caller, our regular caller. Is this MOD?
Yeah.
All right, MOD, what's going on? Yep. Turn him on. He's barely showing up.
Oh yeah, we need that thing.
Just turn that up.
Yeah, it was blowing my head off.
Oh, that's not saying.
Our society sees it when we hear these, we talk these things. It corrects itself. You're shunned, right? And to your point, if there are people of interest, powers, be financial capabilities to have a means to invest with a tax deferred deal, like building cities telecommunications because it's a tax break. Do you think they would do that?
I have an answer.
Say that again. That last part.
Do you think that there's opportunity to make money? What's it called? A tax break when you nonprofit.
Yeah, he's
that
it out.
People would invest in those opportunities, and I would say yes. And we see that with what you're talking about. These opportunity zones that are going on right now. LA, Mayor says we will become a smart city, right?
Oh, he's talking about what you talked about in the past, not what you're talking about today.
These people that have the opportunity to invest in areas of this country or areas of town will do it. And
I can't take that one.
there's an incentive to do that, and that's why I'm saying it's a new
Really?
opportunity.
Johnny
So,
always does.
Oh,
anyway, I just want
Johnny's
to give you
so
that
much better.
information.
I'm pretty sure we can hear.
KPFT.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, brother.
So that's going on right now. That's current, okay? And
Yeah, stand by. We'll bring you up, but we got a caller on there right now. Just for a moment, please.
in your face.
So how do I keep him on hold?
From like
Push this, I think.
If we accidentally hang up, please call us back. Just 1 second.
Communities that have no representation, and what better place to set up a
That call wants to talk about Billboard.
right?
Cool.
Like Acres Home.
But he's probably just saying he does, and he's going to come on and yell at us about
Second
it.
Ward.
That guy.
Why not set up
You're the one who wants these damn.
Let's move on after this guy. We gotta wrap him up.
So this is what it's like. This is what it's like when we're taking calls. Sometimes we're cutting up.
on the surface, it seems very
Okay, now you
good
can.
and
This is what it's like.
What you're doing is you're testing a new means of information of what we're talking about, that being all the actions of human domain behavior tracking and analytics is what I'm alluding to, Derek, and that's in China right now. It's done. Okay, it's called Identity Without Borders, and we're doing that around the world. That being all U.S.
Yeah, we're familiar with that, brother. We want to go. We're gonna have to wrap it up right there. Just we're on limited time. We got a lot of stories to cover. We got another caller, but we always appreciate you calling in, man, and we definitely appreciate the background. You like
I do think it's interesting, something to think about. Just tracking people in the way that he's speaking about, tracking movements of large groups of people. We think of migrations. We think of different causes for migrations and stuff like that. Like, what are they concerned about to be tracking these large groups?
Oh, dude, we gotta go.
I would say supply and demand.
We're gonna have to leave it there, brother. We're gonna have to leave it there, man. We apologize, but we'll get you on the next round. We're gonna go to our next caller now. Who do we got on the line?
Hi. Hey, Tom. How are you? You're live on the air on KPFT. Doing good, Tom. What's on your mind?
First, I want to thank you for bringing up the Bilderberg group. I mean, there's such a shroud of silence over all the media, pretty much, about that. And you guys are on the air in Houston, so thanks for doing that. Secondly, I want to talk about the importance of it. This is not just, a group of local politicians getting together. This is the world leaders in finance, in the military, in government, and media. And, I mean, they do the media in secrecy. You don't know what they're saying, but if you just look at the way the world has gone in the past number of years, with all the, no problem, with everything going to the under the 1%, with our freedom being curtailed, with wars being endless, and with the media seeming to just be passively complicit to all of it, you kind of have to assume that maybe this is the plan for the past 40 years. Maybe these guys have been, cooking these kind of things up. Now, I personally talked to Tom Daschle
Yeah, they hear us
and John Edwards and
They
about
shouldn't know because
both
it's
of them
part of the
about
board.
you think the American people should know what's going on in the Bilderberg meeting, and they don't say anything. But also with Mike a few minutes ago saying, "Oh, you just ask them when they get back. They're not going to tell you what's going on in the Bilderberg meeting." Well, this is not something we should put to the side or lessen the importance of in any way. I mean, the way the world is going, and with the destination we seem to be headed toward, with kind of like the money all in the hands of very few.
What do you think we should? I guess you're saying there's something we should not overlook. What do you think should be done?
Okay, but I'm saying the comments you guys made up, how much should we care about this? This is a crucial importance. Organizations.
Well,
he can't hear you.
So, I just wanted to respond to what you were saying real quick, if that's all right. Yeah, so I appreciate, for one, yeah, I appreciate you calling in and being on subject. We always appreciate when somebody's talking about what we're trying to share here. So I guess what I was getting at, and the reason I'm asking that question is, someone like yourself, you sound well informed. You know what's going on with the Bilderberg Group. Obviously, you're familiar with them just based on what you're talking about. And so we're kind of part of an in group that is ahead of the game or is familiar with these things. And we also at the same time recognize that not every